Hi students, welcome back. Now we will read the third chapter, Applied History. This is from the textbook of class 10th, Maharashtra State Board. It has 5 sections. 3.1, what is applied history? 3.2, applied history and research in various fields. 3.3, applied history and our present. 3.4, management of cultural and natural heritage. 3.5, affiliated professional fields. So now let's see these 5 sections one by one. 3.1, what is applied history? Applied history is known as public history. Applied history is a field of study concerned with the application of history for the benefit of people in the future contemporary and future times. Knowledge of history is useful as it can provide guidance in finding solutions to contemporary social issues and incorporate them in the social planning. Knowledge of history is essential for this purpose. The projects and programs related to applied history can create opportunities for people to participate along with the technical experts. Their participation in the capacity of tourists visits museums and ancient sites is also important. Tourism creates interest in history among people. They can volunteer to participate in the conservation and preservation projects of their own city or town or village. Before moving to section 3.2, let's read this table. What is written in this table? Pink table. It is interesting to know public history. People have lot of misgivings about the practicality of the knowledge of history. For example, history is usually thought as a field of interest only for historians and students wishing to pursue higher studies in the subject and not pertaining to practical life. History as a field of knowledge does not have any applicability to economically productive fields, etc. Public history helps to overcome such misgivings and makes history meaningful in everyday life, connecting people to history. There are many universities abroad where various courses on public history are offered. Srushti Institute of Art, Design and Technology is an institute at Bangalore, Karnataka. This institute has an independent department named Center for Public History. This department has taken up various projects and research in the field of public history. Okay, now move to the next section 3.2, second section. Applied history and research in various fields. Let's see how it is applied to the various fields. History is about the past events. The way our present lifestyle is shaped is dependent on the historical chain of events. Historical events relate to various fields like politics, social and religious structure of a community, philosophy, technology and science, etc. Each of these fields have their own history of building knowledge. The direction of future development in every field is dependent on the state of available knowledge. Hence, the method of history can prove to be of value in the research of various fields. For example, philosophy. First is philosophy. The history of philosophy helps in understanding the origin of various ideologies, the intellectual traditions giving rise to those ideologies, and their historical developments. Philosophy needs language as a medium of expression. In order to understand the philosophical expression, knowledge of the history of language proves useful. Second is science. The history of science helps in understanding the chronological order of scientific discoveries, inventions, and theories. It can also help to understand the cause effect chain that lead to those discoveries and inventions. It is said that need is the mother of inventions. Scientific discoveries, inventions are often the effect of human efforts to fulfill a need and also curiosity. These efforts are based on already available scientific knowledge. Knowledge of history of science helps in understanding the factors that facilitated a scientific discovery, invention, and also its chronology. Next is technology. Technology is also related to science. Let's see. The history of technology helps in understanding the changes and their causes in the field of agricultural production, commodity production, architecture, engineering, etc. Scien- Scientific discoveries, inventions, and technological advances are mutually dependent on each other. Knowledge of science and technology was very important at every step from the making of stone tools to agricultural production in the evolution of mankind. Later, the advancement of science promoted the mechanization of production. It is necessary to know the history of technology in order to understand the development of mechanization and the mutual dependence between science and technology. Then, fourth, industry and commerce. The field of mutual social transactions expands with the growth of industry and trade. It also promotes continuous development of the network of cultural interactions. It is an integral part of the industrial and commercial management. It is essential to understand the history of these processes. The nature of the market and commerce has continued to change. Accordingly, the nature of human relationships and the social organization also has continued to change. To understand this development, it is necessary to study the history of culture, social organization, and economic institutions. Fifth, management studies. In order to understand various factors involved in the chain of production, such as means of production, human resources, and processes of production, as well as the chain of market and sales management, etc., it is essential to have a knowledge of similar functional systems of the past. It is essential to understand the psychological character of people working at various levels in the chain of production and marketing for healthy management. In order to achieve it, understanding of the social and economic institutions that support the industrial and commercial processes is important. Knowledge of history in this regard makes the management at various levels easier. Sixth is arts. It is important to understand the development of various art forms with the help of their style of expression and their foundation in the form of intellectual, emotional, cultural traditions. The key to the expressions in any art form, emotional temperament of the artist, and the developmental history of the respective art form can be understood with the help of cultural history. The next is humanities. Seventh, humanities include disciplines like history, archaeology, sociology, anthropology, political science, economics, etc. To understand the history of the origin and development of these disciplines is an essential part of their learning. All disciplines are supposed to have their origin in philosophy. Ancient people all over the world tried to speculate in order to understand the relationship between the universe and human existence. It gave rise to various mythological stories about the origin of the world, the universal order, human life, gods and goddesses, rituals, and their philosophical explanation. Roots of philosophical ponderings are to be found in these mythological stories. Various disciplines under humanities have theoretical foundations based on philosophical theories. Only historical knowledge can help us in understanding these developmental stages. Now, section 3.3, Applied History and Our Present. People often ask about the practical value of history. The answer to the question about the nature of applied history answers the question as well. The visible and invisible relics of the past exist in the present. We nurture some kind of curiosity, attraction toward them. We wish to know more about their history because they represent the creative thoughts and traditions of our ancestors. It is our heritage. It helps in building our identity. The history of our heritage links us our origin. Hence, it becomes necessary to preserve and conserve it for future, for our benefit as well as for the benefit of future generations. Applied history is concerned with the preservation and conservation of our heritage and make it accessible to people. Heritage management creates opportunities of employment. In brief, applied history can be described as understanding of our present with the help of history and finding right direction for the benefit of our future. Now, section 3.4, Management of Cultural and Natural Heritage. Part A, Cultural Heritage. It is in the form of human creation. It is of two types, tangible and intangible. Tangible means to which we can touch, and intangible means untouchable. So let's see. First is tangible cultural heritage. This type of cultural heritage includes ancient sites, buildings, artifacts, manuscripts, sculptures, paintings, etc. The second is intangible cultural heritage. This type of cultural heritage includes the following things: oral traditions and their language, traditional knowledge, social customs and rituals of celebrating festivals, styles of performing arts, certain traditional skills, communities, groups who represent, who represent such traditions, customs, and skills. Now, next is natural heritage. B is natural heritage. The concept of natural heritage gives importance to the thought of biodiversity. It includes the following things: 1. Fauna, 2. Flora, 3. Ecology, and geomorphic characteristics, which is crucial for sustaining the flora and fauna of a particular region. It is essential for the benefit of future generations to preserve our heritage. UNESCO, the global organization, has announced some directives with the objective of promoting the cultural and natural heritage. On the basis of those directives, list of sites and traditions are declared as World Heritage. The list of UNESCO's World Natural Heritage now includes Western Ghats, the Khas Plateau in the district of Satara is also a part of the Western Ghats. At, at a glance, the Indian traditions declared as oral and intangible heritage. 2001 Kottayam Sanskrit Theatre, Kerala. 2003 The tradition of Vedic chanting. 2005 Ramlila, the traditional performance of Ramayana in North India. 2009 Ramayan, religious festival and ritual theatre of the Garhwal, Uttarakhand. 2010 Kalbelia, folk songs and dances of Rajasthan. 2010 Chau dance, West Bengal, Jharkhand, Odisha. 2010 Mudiyat, a ritual theatre of Kerala. 2012 Buddhist chanting of Ladakh, recitation of scared Buddhist texts in the Trans-Himalayan Ladakh region, Jammu and Kashmir. 2013 Sankirtana, ritual singing, drumming and dancing of Manipur. 2014 Traditional craft of making utensils of brass and copper among the Tateras of Punjab. 2016 Yoga. Now, World Cultural Heritage Sites, India. 1983 Agra Fort. 1983 Ajanta Caves. 1983 Verul Ellora Caves. 1983 Taj Mahal. 1984 Temples at Mahabalipuram. 1984 Sun Temple, Konark. 1986 Churches and Convents of Goa. 1986 Fatehpur Sikri. 1986 Group of Monuments at Hampi. 1986 Khajuraho Temples. 1987 Gharapuri Elephanta Caves. 1987 Brihadishwar Temple of Tanjavur. Great Living Chola Temples. 2004 Gangai Koncholapuram, Brihadishwar and Airavad- Airavadeshwar at Darasuram. 1987 Group of Monuments at Patadakal. 1989 Sanchi Stupa. 1993 Humayun's Tomb, Delhi. 1993 Qutub Minar and its monuments, Delhi. 1999 Mountain Railways of India. It has three numbers. First, Himalaya Railway, Darjeeling Himalayan Railway. Second, Nilgiri Mountain Railway. Third, the Kalka Shimla Railway. 2002 Mahabodhi Temple Complex at Bodh Gaya. 2003 Rock Shelters of Bhimbetka. 2004 Champanar Pavagad Archaeological Park. 2004 Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Terminus, Mumbai. 2007 Red Fort Complex, Delhi. 2010 The Jantar Mantar, Jaipur. 2013 Hill Forts of Rajasthan. 2014 Rani Ki Vav, the Queen's Stepwell at Patan, Gujarat. 2016 Archaeological Site of Nalanda, Mahavira, Nalanda University at Nalanda, Bihar. 2016, the Capitol Complex at Chandigarh. 2017, Ahmedabad, Historical City. World Natural Heritage Sites. 1985, Kaziranga National Park. 1985, Culado National Park. 1985, Manas Wildlife Sanctuary. 1987, Sundarbans National Park. 1988, Nanda Devi and Valley of Flowers. 2005, National Parks. 2012, Western Ghats. 2014, Great Himalayan National Park. Conservation Area. Mixed. 2016, Khangchend Zonga National Park. This is Kailasa Temple, Verul. Cultural and natural heritage management is one of the main aspects of applied history. The work of conservation and preservation of the cultural heritage falls under the jurisdiction of the Archaeological Survey of India and India's state departments of archaeology. Besides, INTACH, Indian National Trust for Art and Cultural Heritage, is actively working in this field. The work of conservation and preservation of cultural and natural heritage requires participation of experts from various fields. They need to be duly aware of the cultural, social, and political histories of the heritage site. Principles of applied history are useful in creating the awareness among them. Thus, the operations necessary for the conservation, preservation, and development of the heritage site can be handled without causing any change in the original state, in its original state. Second, the local social structure and psychology of the local people, challenges faced by them in the present situations, and their expectations can be surveyed in detail. Third, due to precautions can be taken to avoid hurting sentiments of local people while completing the projects of conservation, preservation, and development of a heritage site. Fourth, participation of the local people in the project can be facilitated. Fifth, systematic plan can be designed to employ the local skills in a creative way and create better opportunities of livelihood. Now, section 3.5, affiliated professional fields. Knowledge of history can be supportive in the decision making with regard to respective legal provisions and public policies in the following fields. Number 1, museum and archives. 2, preservation and conservation of historical site. 3, tourism and hospitality. 4th, entertainment and mass media. Now, do you know the earliest museum 6th century BCE in the world was discovered during the excavation at the city of Ur in Mesopotamia. The excavations were conducted by Sir Leonard Woolley 1922 to 1934. Picture of clay tablets. This museum was built by the sorry, princess of Mesopotamia. Her name was Anigaldi. She herself was the curator of the museum. A noteworthy feature of that museum is the clay tablets inscribed with the descriptions of exhibited artifacts. Another, do you know, India Indian Museum, Kolkata. The Indian Museum at Kolkata was founded by the Asiatic Society in 1814 CE. Nathaniel Wallich, a Danish botanist, was the founder and the first curator of the museum. The photograph of the museum seen here is dated to 1905. The museum has three main departments: arts, archaeology, and anthropology. Other affiliated departments are conservation, publication, photography, exhibition presentation, model making, training, library, security. Every field mentioned here requires expert personnel with specialized skills. For example, architects, engineers, historians, archaeologists, museums, museum curators, sociologists, archive management professionals, legal experts, skilled photographers, etc. Of course, this is just a representative list. The help of experts from many more fields is required. These experts need to have adequate knowledge of the ancient sites, the historical background of the structural remains and artifacts. Projects in the field of applied history can create various opportunities for these professionals. In this lesson, we learnt about the role of applied history in public training programs for understanding the importance of history, for creating social awareness regarding the conservation, preservation of our cultural and natural heritage, using knowledge of history for this purpose, to enhance the professional skills of people and to develop industrial commercial field, to carry out pre preparatory work and plan for effective implementation of heritage projects, etc. It is essential to avoid vandalizing of historic and public places and to ensure that they are preserved for the benefit of future generations. We have left this pink and blue boxes. We will see now. It is interesting to know archives preserve and store old documents, official records, old films, etc. The National Archives of India is in New Delhi. Every state in India maintains its archives independently. Now, in blue box, archives with distinct purpose. The main office of the National Film Archives of India is located in Pune, Maharashtra. It was established in 1964 as the media unit of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting of the Indian government. It served three objectives: to search and obtain rare Indian films, to preserve the heritage for the benefit of future generations, to categorize the important aspects of films, to create documentation and catalogs and carry out research in the field, to establish a center for dissemination of films culture. So this is about archives with distinct purpose. National Film Archives of India. Okay, so we have completed the reading of this chapter. Exercises will be done in a separate video. Thank you all.